Welcome back. All right, so this is going to go on the Entertainment Guy channel, even though I'm wearing a Hockey Guy jersey. I hope people will forgive me. I was getting set to do a panic index. I was going to do a panic index for hockey, and then I came across the latest game theory video, and I thought, it's worthy of a discussion. So, Matt Pat, who runs the theory channels and has run them very well, he is the latest YouTuber to announce, that's it, I'm retiring, I'm done. Now, most of the YouTubers who are announcing their retirement are much younger than I am. Matt Pat being 37, much younger than I am. I'm 50. So then the question becomes one of, so how long can THG go? As long as people are coming back to watch videos, I'm going to be here to do those videos. And I'm quite proud of what both channels have become. This one as well as the main channel. I'm quite proud of the discussions that happen in the hockey world, that whether I've been any part of those discussions or just the online communities that have started to crop up through YouTube have caused mainstream sports broadcasters to kind of change their strategy and how they do things. I'm proud of any role I've played. Any role I've played. And obviously on this channel it's smaller. It is this channel is one that I've talked to my YouTube rep about how I think there's a lot of growth here. So I'm gonna say at this point in time, I don't know that there's a time for me. Because I think that what a lot of creators go through is sort of that burnout of, I want to do something else. I've talked about this before, I'll talk about it here as well. I think one of the differences between myself and a lot of other YouTubers on this platform is that I was much older when I became popular. I was much older when my channel blew up, and I had roughly 20 years of experience with really bad 9 to 5 style jobs that I really didn't enjoy. And so there's a lot of the work ethic that you may see on this channel and on the hockey channel, where it's, why does he do videos 365 days a year? Because I feel like I'm lucky to be able to do this. And so I still feel like I am lucky to be a YouTuber, to be uploading videos and making content every day for you fine people on the internet. I am going to have to pre-record a bunch of videos over the next couple of weeks because we're going to go on vacation. I'm going to enjoy that vacation. There are people who, say, oh, you take a vacation every 6 months. Yes. And ideally you should have that at your job. I had 2 paid weeks off at almost every job I've had, and I would try to take that time when I could. Sometimes I had to split it up and kind of piecemeal it a bit, and sometimes I had to just take the money. Depending on the job I've had, there were times where you build up your vacation pay, and you might be allowed to have it. And my argument was always, well, isn't it mine? So if I quit, you'd give me all the vacation pay, right? So if I want that money right now, I have to quit. I'm not allowed to just have the money, even though it's mine. And the answer was always, well, we had some coworkers of yours that just took it and spent it, and then they couldn't take vacation. And I'm like, yeah, so that's on them. So now that I'm doing this and this is my job, now I can just do extra work, put myself through the overtime, and I'm going to try to get creative for the videos that post to the hockey channel. And I may do a couple of posts to this channel while we're on vacation as well. It does then head off the complaints about my quality of videos while I'm on vacation, because that was the problem too, is that I would do videos while I was on vacation and the audio would suck in the hotel room, because that's how hotel rooms are made. I'm not bringing soundproofing. I'm not going to have that as part of what's going through TSA and adding up to the amount of pounds I'm allowed to carry onto a flight and all that. And I'm not going to use that in a hotel either, because no. But I do have soundproofing. I haven't really found a need to use it as of yet. But I have it. At any rate, for me, the question is more of, am I still enjoying what I'm doing? The answer is yes. I've been taking more breaks this year than I have been in previous years. SmackDown being the most recent break, where I'm like, all right, I'm going to go out, I'm going to enjoy myself. And on Friday, I think there's just one game on Friday, and so I'm leaning towards, spending the evening with my wife, going out, and then talking about that game when I get home. Because on Saturday there's 16 games and it's going to run all day. So I might as well go out on Friday and just chill and relax a bit, because there's just the one game, right? No matter how great that game is, no matter how big of a surprise a result is in a game, that review is not going to get a ton of views. Yesterday I was talking to my YouTube rep about how I didn't feel like the previews did as well, and I wanted to kind of juice up the numbers a bit. We were going through it. The numbers are still strong enough with the previews. There's no reason for me to stop doing them, which I talked about a few years ago on the channel. But I still feel like there's more there. So I'm debating about whether or not to maybe do a couple as a live stream, where I get up in the morning and I do a live stream version and just see how that works. Test that out. I do think I need to do more live streams. The trick with that is it means that you're carving more time out of your day. So my day is very much as structured as I can make it because I like structured days. 20 years of crappy jobs will do that, where I get used to very structured days. And so that's important to me. But like, I know I went through a really tough holidays. It was not a lot of fun for me. I was upset by a couple of things that took place. I was upset by a couple of things that didn't take place that were supposed to during this past week. And so, honestly, the hockey channel helped. I had an absolutely brutal New Year's Day, and January 2nd wasn't much better. And I was so happy to have a really busy night of hockey so I could watch those games, take those notes, and get back to being the hockey guy. I was like, all right, I need this. So I'm nowhere near burnout from YouTube. I do have days where, and I think part of it is, like, so on Friday, right? Friday night, I go out, I watch SmackDown, didn't pay much attention to what was going on with hockey. Part of that is because I was starting to get kind of like blindness to it. When you watch, as at least for me, when I watch as much hockey as I do, there are points during the season where it all kind of blurs together. Like, I'll watch 11 or 12 games. How much is retained? That's why I update the power rankings as soon as those games are all done, where I go, okay, we move it all around. And then by the next morning, it's kind of a haze. Or it's like, yeah, oh, and then I'll look at the boards. The boards are still together from last night. So, like, for instance, last night's results. Here's the board here. I haven't taken this apart yet. I haven't done anything with it. And so, yeah, last week there were days that it was hard for me to retain stuff. But this is important. It's important to me that I go through and I take my notes and I relay to people what I saw in game. The power rankings, everything. And I know it's an important part of everybody's day too. So the idea of, at some point in time, could I see myself training up somebody to replace me on this channel and the main channel? Maybe. Although I don't know that I would envy the person stepping in, because the way that I do things, I don't think anybody else would do it that way. And I think it would require probably a bunch of people to help. The way that you would know would be when, and Matt Pat talked about this in his Goodbye Internet video, if I start hiring people. If you ever see me say, you know what, we're going to be doing AHL videos this year, and my friend here, Mike Smith, he's going to be helping me out. Not the goalie, I'm just using this most generic name you can. But Mike here, he's going to help me out, and he's going to be doing AHL videos. That's when you'll know I'm on my way out. That's when you'll know that I would gradually work them into the content, and eventually it would be, this is my replacement. Now, there's the chance I don't necessarily name a replacement. There's the chance that if I at some point in time, for physical reasons, can't make YouTube videos, if I'm in poor health and all of that, that the channel would just go quiet. And that's always a possibility as well. But it is something that does occur to me at times. And I wanted to talk about this because, again, that video from Matt Pats has millions of views already. And I wanted to just state that even though I'm almost 14 years older than Matt Pat, I'm not going anywhere. But he's been doing that for 13 years. He does a lot of the editing stuff. This is part of the reason why when people say, oh, well, you need to have all the editing, and why don't you get highlights and da-da-da, like, okay, the highlights, that can lead to copyright strikes, so that's not really an option. And all the other editing stuff and I understand what that adds to a video. I get it. But I also know my work ethic and my demands, that this is what I demand of myself. That whether I really enjoy a game or I really, really don't enjoy a game, however I feel watching a game, every review should feel the same. Everything should feel the same. There's a certain standard I hold myself to. If I was editing, that would be the same. I would want every detail to be absolutely perfect. I would not be happy with certain things not working. There are times where there are cuts in videos because I may pause that drive me crazy, and I end up just stopping the video where I'm like, that's a terrible place for a pause, and I start all over again because I do one take videos. So the idea of adding editing to that when I'm putting out the volume of videos I do day by day by day, that's going to kill the rest of my week. I already basically my week now, if you include time watching the game, setting up the boards, everything else, I'm looking at 60-hour work weeks at minimum. 60 is kind of a conservative estimate. So adding all the editing time to that, it becomes way too much. So instead, I'm like, oh, I'll get new magnets. I'll change things up. I got a whole bunch of new magnets over the last couple of weeks, where I order decals on the internet. I don't call them decals, I call them decals, Canadian and all that. But I've got these, and I've got new ones that I've got in because I feel like, well, that's something different. It's something different, and when the boards get kind of dirty and old, and basically at some point in time you can't get all the stains out of them, then it's time to replace the boards too, which I do regularly. I've probably added 5 or 6 new boards over the last 6 months just because I don't like the appearance of the ones I've been using. I feel like this one's really kind of ugly, and I don't know if it comes across on camera. I don't think it does, but again, for me personally, I'm like, no, I got to get a new one for that. So I don't see there being an end date. I don't see there being a time where I say, yeah, I don't want to do this anymore, because I've had the 9 to 5 jobs. And what would I do? Like, that's the other question too that I ask myself. Like, what would I do? Would I go back to that, job, the menial task kind of job? I'm not qualified for like some other, some high paying job as an executive somewhere. And while I'm sure that if I stepped away from YouTube, I would get offers from other media locally, especially, I don't know that I'd want to do that. I don't think I would. This is why when people are like, oh, you just wish to see what's on. I don't see it as much as I used to, but I would see like he just wants to be on TSN. He wants to be on Sportsnet. This is what he does this. But why? Like, I don't see job security with Sportsnet. Everybody goes to Sportsnet and then either they get fired or they move on to something else. And they move on to something else because it's not the end all be all. It's not. I've talked to people in the Canadian industry and in media, and it looks great on TV, and we watch and we think, man, they must get paid really well and treated awesome, and man, they're celebrities. And it's not how it looks to those of us on the outside. So I don't have an envy for people who are on TV. I don't have an envy for all of the people who are covering the teams day to day and traveling with the teams all the time. I really appreciate the work they do. I think that there are some really good reporters when it comes to hockey and just sports in general. I don't envy their jobs. I know how fortunate I am to have the following I have, both on this channel and on the main channel. And so when we come back to this board here, which now is not going to fall behind because these markers have slipped back. The one thing that drives me nuts with this, and it's minor, but it's the fact that it's always angled back, that it means the markers always slide back. So I go to put boards back and the markers have already slid back. But I don't think there's a time for me. I think it's as long as I am able to do this, I'll be standing in front of this board in this room talking to all you fine people. And if I'm ever in a situation where we have to move to another house because something happens, they sell the property, whatever happens, well, then I move to another home and I do it all over again. And I don't care what happens or how that happens, but I don't view me making YouTube videos at this point as an option. I view it as something I have to do. Both for myself, I feel like it benefits my mental health too, and it definitely feels like there's a lot of people on the internet that appreciate my content. Sure, there are people who don't. There are a lot of vocal people who don't, and that's fine. But there are a lot of people that do, and it's been a great ride over the last 7+ years. It's amazing to me that I met my wife right before the channel blew up. I still think that's a big part of the reason the channel blew up. Meeting her, it changed my whole demeanor. It changed my whole outlook on life. I think it made me just a happier person, easier to be around, easier to deal with. and I don't identify with the person I was before the channel blew up. I don't. I was depressed. I was pretty sure my life as I knew it was pointless, wasn't going anywhere. I didn't know why I was going to continue it in the first place, and all that's gone. So, props to her and for the help she provides as well with the channel. And here's to hoping that I'm around for a very, very long time. And I'm talking like if 20 years from now I'm still doing this, great, cool. If I'm a little old man doing this, I'll be happy. Because right now I'm a little old man and I'm happy, so I don't see any reason to. But it does cross my mind, but it's not going to be anytime soon. Um, I'm still very much dedicated to what I do here. The only difference between this year and previous years is I am trying to take more time to depressurize during the regular season in the NHL. A little bit more than I have been in previous seasons because there have been points where I felt kind of burnt out. Shortly before Christmas, I was highly burnt out. Just because of what I was saying to you about how you kind of get blindness with everything. And the NHL schedule is ridiculous in November and early December. And yeah, I do not doubt that players are getting hurt and burnt out if I can get burnt out just watching them play. So nothing but respect for the NHL players that go through this ridiculous schedule the NHL puts up, and I do my best to cover it as well as I can, knowing it's going to get better. I every now and then there'd be the really busy nights, and I'd be like, okay, there's enough of a break, and I'd look ahead to the following months and be like, okay, oh, that month looks so much nicer. Oh, that month looks like a dream. That's a busy day. Oh, it's a Saturday, and some of those are matinee games. Oh, I love that. So, like, I would try to keep that in mind, but at times it gets tough when especially when they're really high scoring games and you got 10 games going on at once. And in November, again, the scoring's usually pretty darn high. Yeah, there were some nights to test my patience, and I said some not very THG like things during those games. There's like, okay, I got 3 goals in this game, and then there's two. There's a goal. Oh my god, that game's got. Is there what is happening? There was one night that there were 44 goals I hadn't filled in yet because there was just so much going on. So I had to get Yvonne to come in and help fill them all in because I had no way to catch up. That has not happened to me so far in January. Knock on easel. And really in late January it wasn't happening either. The scoring seems to have calmed down a bit, and that makes a big difference. But anyways, there you go. I wanted to make a video on this today because I know that apparently there's YouTubers that'll do this big I'm out of here. And if anybody in the back of their mind's thinking, is THG gonna go anywhere? Could he end up? No. I am still quite happy. I'm still here, and I'm gonna be making content for as long as I physically can. All right, there you go. But thank you guys so much for all your support. It does mean a lot. It really, really does. Like I said, it's part of what gets me through when times are really not great, not fantastic. We'll put it that way. Not great times, but it does get better. It's better this week than it was last week, and I'm sure next week will be better than this week. It'll just keep ramping up because going to California, I'm going to catch myself a Ducks game against the Sharks. I'm going to play some street hockey while I'm down in Anaheim. I'm playing street hockey in California with subscribers. What could be cooler than that? So this is the kind of thing that absolutely helps, give me that extra oomph and say, you know what? I'm good. This is great. This is a fun job. So during those rough days and days where there's just things knocking me off my game, once 4 o'clock rolls around and the games get started, I'm usually in a better mood. And if I'm not, I'm in a better mood by the time you reach about 4:30, because you can't just stay all, or I'm so angry today. Okay, goal. All right, they're pressing. All right, switch channels. All right, this is going on. Switch channels. This is okay. Switch channels. And by 4:30, there's so much busy in my brain, I can't be angry anymore. I'm done. So it works. But there you go. Thank you guys so much for all your support. Hit like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And hey, get the panic index done. That'll make hockey people happy and unhappy at the same time. And it's great. It really, honestly, it's been fantastic for the last 7 years. I could not thank all you fine people of the internet enough, and I never dreamed this would happen. So when your dream is achieved, you hold on to it and you do everything you can to make sure that you don't blow it. So that's where I'm at right now. But thank you guys so much for all your support, and I will talk to you again soon.